All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of the Barely Made podcast. My name is Nick Bonilla. I'm joined here with my co-host Rocky D'Antonio. Rocky, how you doing?
Feeling great, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like for the first episode, obviously, it's got to have a very formal sounding intro.
It's
Um,
got to.
as you know, this is something that we've talked about for pretty much the entire time we've known each other, and it's cool to be making it happen.
It's
The
finally here, man. It's
It's
crazy.
finally here, and the
Mhm.
idea behind this podcast is that we're gonna be talking to a lot of golf influencers and content creators, some pretty familiar faces in the space. Um,
I mean, I would
yeah,
go out on a limb here and say that it's probably some of the people that are watching's favorite creators.
yeah, yeah,
They're going to be some big names on this podcast.
yeah. Now that I think about it, of all the golf podcasts that I watch, I think it's hard to get guests like this on here. I love how I'm just gassing us already,
Well,
but
no, I mean, but really though, like we got one
yeah,
of the biggest guys in the space, and this is our first episode, so we
yeah.
are blessed. We are blessed.
Obviously, we are not wearing the same outfits that we're wearing during our conversation with Joe. I just want to give a little backstory because I think it's pretty funny what happened. So we had a whole different name. We had everything ready to go, and
Yep.
it was the night before we were supposed to announce the podcast, which was what, last Tuesday. It
Yep.
was last Tuesday, and the funny thing is, I found it because I was trying to find the YouTube channel that you said you created for the podcast. And
Mhm.
so I typed it into YouTube, and the old name for the podcast was Behind the Greens. And so I went to YouTube and I typed it in, immediately saw Behind the Greens associated with a somewhat prominent sports media
Yeah.
company.
Someone we
Um,
didn't wanna go to war with.
Somebody who might have a CEO that may review pizza. Um, To which Rocky's response is, "It would be kinda cool, 5 episodes in for them to, find out and come after us," and I was like, "That would not be cool."
It would be kinda I mean, come on, to have
I
Barstool coming after you, it would be pretty cool.
That was when I texted you, and I was like, "Oh, dude, no shot they have this trademarked, right?" To which,
Well,
20 seconds later, you sent me a screenshot of it trademarked.
yeah, what the worst part is, man, is I saw that series. Remember, like, I said something about there's, like, this little YouTube series out there, but, like, they only posted 3 videos.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Barstool.
Yeah, I didn't either, but they posted 3 videos and trademarked it for 10 years,
Here we
which
are.
I'm happy with where we're at right now.
Yeah, I'm happy. I think the Barely Made podcast is gonna be good for us. I also think it's good because Barely Made, we are just, scratching the surface of the
We're
influencer world,
barely
and
made.
so it's just
Mhm.
cool because we're just 2 nobodies that are interviewing people that are somebodies, so
That's couldn't say it better myself, bro.
and I mean, obviously, Joe is somebody who is very much somebody, even though he will downplay it to his
Mhm.
grave, which I appreciate about him. Yeah, waste management's gonna be a time. That's gonna be fun.
Oh, can't wait to get on the tables with Joe. And you'll see in this episode, I don't know if you caught it, but when he says that he's going to waste management, I had the little dice roll going because I already knew as soon as if we're all gonna be in the
Yeah.
same area with some tables in in the
Yeah.
vicinity, they're gonna be hit
Yeah. Oh, man.
hard, hard.
Tell everybody how you met Joe.
Him and Bob were on a vacation somewhere in California. They were drinking in the backyard, having a good time, and they were putting up bets on their stories. And I was a huge fan of both of them. And I I saw that they were going to bet a certain way, so I told them, "Hey guys, look, like don't bet this, bet the other way. I promise it's going
I
to
mean,
work
we can
out."
say what it was. They were gonna bet on the Bucks, and you
They
said,
were
"I
going to
would."
bet on the Bucks, and I wanted them to bet on the Celtics. I think this was like 2 years ago in the playoffs. Yeah, so they weren't really buying into it, so finally I was like, "Look, like, I'll cover it if it loses, I'm this confident." So, they finally went with me. They bet the Celtics, it won, I gave them another play for the 7 o'clock game. That one hit, and they're sending me videos of them in the jacuzzi, just like screaming my name, jumping up and down. And mind you, I'm a massive fan of these guys, right? Like
Yeah.
I wasn't close with them at all. This was the first time I ever spoke with them, and lucky for me, I was on a heater. So like the next like 4 or 5 days, I just kept giving Joe winners, and we developed a relationship. And then like a month later, he came down to Vegas, and man, like ever since that trip that he came down that first time, like we played golf like 4 or 5 times. He changed his flight to film with me and the Golf Fathers when we only had like 40 subscribers, and he like jump started that whole thing for us. I've known him for about 2.5, 3 years now, and I consider him one of my best friends for sure.
Yeah. I talk to Joe more than I talk to my best friends.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe's. I mean, we're in like a little betting chat, me, Nick, and
Yeah.
Joe. So
Rocks,
there's a
locks, baby.
rocks locks. I have one subscriber, and it's Joe.
I mean, dude, if you start feeding me some more winners, I can afford to subscribe. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm kind of getting them for the free right now, so it's
I don't
like,
I don't blame you. I know. I don't blame you. We were
you know,
close tonight.
we were close until the Pistons decided not to do their job anymore.
Yeah, it was rough.
We're gonna get this guy in here who is, yeah, I mean, he's the best. When I was out in Vegas, I kind of thought you were like gassing him up at first. Like you were like, dude, this guy is the best. He's so humble. He's just so nice. And the past 3-4 weeks of us talking or whatever, it's like I'm like, oh no, he's the real deal.
He's the real deal, bro.
Yeah,
And I don't think there's anybody better to start it off with. And like I said on my story, man, we're starting off with a bangerang
with a bangerang, with a Rufio.
with a Rufio on the side, baby. Let's go.
Let's get him in here.
I'm gonna bring him in. Bring in the big guy.
Bring him in.
What's up, boys?
There he is.
What's up, man?
Look at this.
Look
Pretty
at us.
cool. Pretty cool little background.
This is what I spent all morning doing when you guys were asking for a lock.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. Hey, I haven't been paying attention, Joe. How's the teaser looking?
I haven't watched the afternoon games. I think the Jets are going to fuck us, though, if I'm being honest. They've fucked me every week, every single week. I've bet this team. I don't know. I got to just blame myself at some point for continuing to bet on this dumpster fire of a team.
Joe, do you want to update?
What are they? How much are they down?
Well, so they're down 3-0, but Miami's got the ball on their 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be 10-0. What do we have them at? Plus 6.5, I think. That's with the 7.5 points teaser. This team stinks, man. I don't even know how the line was where it was.
Yeah, I'm glad I took Jets minus 1.5. Appreciate that one.
No,
Jesus.
no.
Come on. Don't.
How are the Jets? But how are the Jets favored in this game when Miami has to win to make the playoffs? I don't understand that.
It's how the books work, Joe. They're trying to trick everybody into betting the Dolphins, and we're going to win the game if you guys would just stay focused and stop losing faith. We're going to win. The Jets are going to win by a touchdown.
I mean, I'm focused. I'm not watching the game. I'm not even looking at the scores. I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Nick had to give me the update, which.
And I do see what you did here by bringing on the Canucks half zip.
I just got this sent to me. It's pretty sick.
It is pretty clean.
That's
I want them to go. Yeah, that's awesome. I want them
it.
to go back to the old school logo, like their black and yellow jerseys are fucking nice, man.
I like that one better, Joe.
You like this?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Stupid whale, man. It's just doesn't scare anybody. No. At least our team doesn't.
Yeah.
Fair. That's a good point. We won some money on the Canucks.
Yeah.
Won some bucks on the Canucks. Well,
is this your guys' first podcast?
This is
first ever.
This is the very first episode. I mean, you've kind of just christened the podcast in a sense.
I hope I don't just like drop the viewership like big time on the first episode. You guys bottom out.
Good thing is there's no viewership, Joe. So anything from here is positive.
All right,
Joe. I hate to break it to you, but I think you're the only reason people are coming to start out.
What do you mean? The Bat Boys golf is hot right now, dude.
It's hot.
I mean, I'll take whatever we can get. I mean,
you
my
wife
wife
sprung up out of nowhere, man. I saw you tag me in a video. I don't know if Rocky sent it to me or
I
how
remember,
I
yeah,
saw it.
The YouTube
I
golf
sent
one?
it to you.
The first one you did with your wife where you were like explaining like the video
yeah.
and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, yo, that shit's actually pretty. I didn't know who you were. I was just like, that's pretty funny. And I like followed you and you had like not that many viewers or followers. And now you're at
Yeah.
like 50 something thousand. Like you've kind
Yeah.
of popped up out of nowhere.
Almost didn't post the rap video and posted it, and within like 3 minutes, it was over like 10,000 views, and I was like, "Oh, this is about to go crazy."
You
And so
know right
that's
away when there's a video that's going to go viral. I mean, Rock,
yeah,
remember when we played at the Win the one time, and a buddy of mine who was a Callaway rep, Mike Seiden, who brought us out there, great guy.
yeah,
He was filming because that was like pretty soon after they had just gotten like the Sphere was like in all the news and everything. It was like really new, and it just was like perfect timing. The Sphere was like making fun of my swing. It was like this big giant like laughing
yeah,
face emoji that looked like miserable as I hooked one out of bounds. And he caught it on camera so perfect when he showed me. I'm like, I have to post that right now. It's going to go
yeah.
crazy. And I looked at Rocky like 10 minutes later and I was like, this thing's been shared 10,000 times within,
Oh my God.
it was like 3 hours. I was like, this thing's going nuclear. And then it was
Yeah.
like on the news and shit. So, you know, like right away, like when you have
Yeah.
a video that's popping and you're just like, it's pretty exciting to watch it go down because you're like, I wonder how this is going to end up translating and like what's
Yeah.
going to come from this. And it's pretty cool. But your rap thing went crazy. You had like, was it Roger Steele and like OG Lot and those guys
Yeah.
like responding.
Liv commented on it.
Yeah. But no, but they actually did videos back in response to you, not just comment.
Yeah.
No? Like then they do like response.
Yeah, that was dope. I think that was a really cool moment because it's like people that, you know, I watch all the time on Instagram that in a sense are like becoming peers, but also like they're asking me for the beat so that they can like do something on it. And it's just like, dude, this is wild. But it's funny because I told my wife before I posted it, I said, I don't want people to call me like cringy or corny or whatever. If I post this and they think it's not good. So I was like, if it doesn't get 10,000 views, I'm deleting it. And I left my phone upstairs and I walked downstairs after I posted. I'm like, all right, the video's up. I said, don't talk to me about the video for an hour. I don't want to know what people are saying. And like 2 minutes goes by and she's like, so how long until we can talk about it? And I'm like, an hour, why? And she was like, well, I want to talk to you about all the comments. And I was like, what do you mean all the comments? And she's like, yeah, there's already like 40 of them. And I'm like doing the math in my head and I'm like, 40 comments, that's got to be like double-digit 1,000 views already. And so that's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. I got to start doing this more.
So are you going to keep doing like raps or like what's the play for you like moving forward? Have you thought about it?
Yeah, so I definitely am gonna do them, especially as the golf season kicks up. I want to start doing some that like incorporate things that are happening in golf. Like for instance, you know, if I was doing the raps this time last year, you know, might throw in like a jab about Rory missing that putt at the US Open or something like that. Like stuff that like people can like relate to. Obviously, I'm still gonna really hit home on the bad golf thing because obviously that's something a lot of us can relate to. My whole thing about the content I post, and I've told Rock this too, is that I feel like a lot of people would have done the rap thing and then that's all that they would have ever posted on their page after that. Like they would just only do raps. I never want to like corner myself into like a specific like niche or something where it's like, oh, this is all I can post now. And so I always try and, you know, mix it up. Like I'll do skits with my wife. I'll do the raps. Like I'll actually go out and play golf sometime and post that. And I kind of want to
with
like,
your wife is I think it's the best.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, it's really funny. But you know, going back to your rap stuff, you know, some people do that. Like Kelly James is a guy who just literally started doing that, and he's at every event. Like we were at Waste Management last year. On Wednesday, we had to shoot a shot on 16, which I just absolutely shanked, which we don't need to get into that. But like he was on the tee box rapping before every single person was going up and like freestyling. And like he gets into like I've seen him at tournaments. I've seen him at events. I did something with Mark Wahlberg for the match, the TNT thing. He was there doing like raps at the Pro-Am and stuff. Like he's made like a whole living off of it. He's got a membership at the Grove. And like he did like a whole
Whoa.
thing at the Grove. So maybe there's something to the rap thing that you definitely got to stick
Yeah.
with.
I was speaking of Kelly James, I was talking to this guy Ryan who works for Malbin, who reached out to me because like a lot of my videos I'll have Malbin on, and so we start chatting back and forth. And it was actually funny because we're talking about Jersey rap and or Jersey golf, and like Pine Valley and stuff came up, and then he started talking about Kelly James, and he's like, yeah, he's like, send me his page and stuff like that. And I'm like looking at all his stuff, and I'm like, dude, this is like a dream job right here.
Oh yeah, he's
Also,
made it, man.
I also found out he's played Augusta like 25 times.
Yeah, he's entrenched in the golf world like as much as anyone I know in terms of like influencers or different things like that. So, well, you got that, Rock. You're just in the top shots for the year. You made a hole in one, and like I know you're pushing your stuff. So I'm rooting for you guys to do something, and maybe the podcast. Like, what is the idea behind the podcast? Like moving forward, like what are you guys aiming to do? Like. Or like what's the theme, or what are you trying to capture behind it? Like, I'm interested.
We just, the one thing I me, Joe, I haven't really gained the traction with the subscribers and followers, but I have gained traction with the actual influencers in the space. And I just feel like there's so much stuff behind the scenes of these guys that nobody really gets to see. And I think that we could kind of get these guys on and pull it out of them, like, I can't wait to ask you a couple of questions that I think nobody really knows, about you. And I'm sure they have an idea, but like, I want to deep dive into some stuff, like what goes through your mind on a craps table. Like that's something that I really, that's something I really want to know, because I go around and I tell everybody that there's a couple things that you got to do before you die, and playing craps with Joey Coldcuts is one of them. So,
yeah, some would say.
So like like someone like Nick's never even played the game, so
I don't even know how to play craps, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very intense in the sense that there's a lot going on. Like if you just come up to the table and you just like are like observing, you'd be like the first couple times you're like, what the fuck is happening? But it's a pretty simple game. So like people will ask me sometimes, and I'll like people will like break it down and explain it pretty well, but like the payouts and like the different breakdowns and all the shit, there's a lot that goes in. But I like it because it's a communal, fun game. Like if like Rock and I, we've played a couple times, and like when he's gone on a heater, it's just fun. Like you're winning together, the whole team's winning together, and it's fucking good vibes, man. It's like it's just a great communal game, and it's fast paced, so there's a lot happening quick. I have like ADD my whole life. So like, I love when like, I'm like, I guess when there's a lot happening and I can kind of be stimulated, I love that, So like, that's why I can't watch TV on Football Sunday without the quad box on and like every second a game going on or something like that. So I'm a bit of a sideshow, man. It is what it is.
How long did it take you to know all the payouts better than the actual dealers?
I don't know if I know better than the dealers, but
Joe is the movie 21.
Time out. There's times where Joe's not only telling them what the payout is before they could even process it. When they give it to him wrong, he'll call them out on the like he processes the numbers quicker than the dealers, and then when he finds a dealer that could do it better than him, he doesn't leave. Like he loves that.
Yeah.
But like his brain is insane. Like he's very, very smart with numbers. It's crazy.
When money's on the line, it tends to happen that way. The one thing that I love about the craps tables is no matter where you are in a casino, you know where the craps table is because they're the loudest ones in the casino. It's like the equivalent of when you're at a Mexican restaurant and the waiter comes out with the fajitas.
Yeah.
That's like the craps table equivalent. I'm excited though. I feel like I just picture The Hangover and like them on the craps table, and I'm like, one day when we're all in Vegas at the same time, that's what it's going to be like.
I love Vegas, man. I really do.
Joe, are you going to Waste Management?
Yeah, we'll be there this year. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. We're going to be there probably for a majority of the week. I don't know if we're doing the same thing as we did last year. I kind of hope not, or maybe I should hope that and kind of get redemption, because last year we went on the Wednesday, we went into the hole 16. They did a whole thing where they did like closest to the pin, and they had all these people who were actually like, sports, like athletes and somebody's, and then we got grouped in with those guys. And we shot the shot. It was like the fucking whole stadium was filled. It was like thousands of people. It kind of, for the first time, made me realize like what it must feel like to hit a shot like in front of people. Like there's times where you feel pressure on like a tee box, and then imagine that an entire stadium filled with everybody watching you, someone freestyle rapping before you shoot your shot, and like it's like thousands of people like heckling and like watching and laughing and drunk, and then you just shake a shot. I wanted to like go and hide. I like shanked it right into the fucking cactus.
Isn't that when Saban was?
Nick Saban was right next to me. I was talking to him. Yeah, and I was like, what club are you hitting? And he just like looked at me like, who the fuck is this guy? He was really nice actually, but
let's go. You already know. Cutsy on the tee box, let's go. Can we hit it on the green on this short par 3? Oh, let's go be on social media. Pronto.
Yeah, but we'll be back there this year. I don't know when we're going to be there, but it's if you guys haven't been to the Waste Management, I think it's truly like the most fun tournament you can be at, because everybody's just having a good time, and the golf is kind of like secondary. You know, like people are there to watch golf, but they're also there to enjoy themselves. So it's not too like snooty or like it's like anybody can go and have a good time there. It's a lot of fun. Although last year I think they kind of let it get a little bit out of control. So I'm sure this year they'll rein it in a little bit more.
Yeah, I saw that.
It was wild. It was terrible weather. It was muddy. They couldn't, like, the entrance on the final day that we went, like, you couldn't get in. It was like fucking bottlenecked to get in. It was crazy. So I think they're gonna put some things in place this year to make it a little bit better. But it's a lot of fun. Have you guys been to any PGA tournaments before?
I went to the Waste Management that one, like I think it was number 2 or 3 years ago. I went and I was hanging out with you. It was, I think it was like maybe 3 years ago or 2 years ago. I'm not sure, but yeah, I've been once, and it was wild.
You guys got to go to some more events. I went to the Masters last year for the first time, and that was crazy. It's just a different vibe though. Like it's totally like. Yeah, like
it's the opposite of Waste Management.
It is the polar opposite. It's like two ends of the spectrum that are totally different. But golf tournaments are a lot of fun to go to. Like they're really they're enjoyable. And now this year that we signed with the PGA Tour to be on their Creator Council, whatever that means, I don't know what they want, but like they want us to go to a lot more events and like kind of like help like bring more attention to some of like not the major events, but like smaller events that still are like important and like draw more attention. Because I think like everybody's watching the Masters or the US Open or like, you know, even like the Players Tournament. But then you have like something like the Valspar, or you'll have like a smaller tournament and people don't really pay attention. And it's still a lot of fun to go to. So I think like we're probably going to go to a bunch more events this year and like to help promote it. And then like also like potentially play the tournaments, like the courses before the tournament starts to see how we can do like in an actual PGA tournament course conditions, right? Because it's different.
Very different. And I know Nick wants to ask you a couple questions about the restaurant business, but before we came on, he didn't know that you went to school for, and I don't want to say anything wrong. It was in Switzerland, right?
For almost 3 years.
He said you went to Hogwarts in Switzerland for culinary.
I lived in it was like a castle. It was one of like the first, I'm not even making this up, it sounds douchey when I'm gonna say it, but it was one of the first 5-star erected hotels in Switzerland, and they turned it into a school, and like it was an international school. So I made friends from all over the world. Like there are people from Africa, from all over Europe, from like South America, from North America, like everywhere you could ask for, going to school and living there. And it was probably one of the most fun times of my life. It was awesome.
What made you like, were you always passionate about that?
After high school, I went to college, and then I transferred into university. So college in Canada is like a little bit like there's like community college, and then there's like university, which is like for, I guess in the States, like a real college for you guys, right?
Yeah.
So I was there, and then like probably a couple years in, I was like, I was going to try to become an accountant. I don't know why. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was kind of fucking around, and I wasn't going to classes. And my dad's a teacher, and I was like, Dad, I'm just wasting my time, so I'm going to take some time off. So I took a bunch of time off, and I was serving in the restaurant. Back then, I was just like a server. I worked at a couple of like nice restaurants, and then like 3-4 years went by, and then like all my friends were getting degrees and like excelling, and I was just kind of still serving. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was clearly not what I wanted to do with my life. So I was like, I need to figure out what the fuck I want to do. And I felt like hospitality was something that I had already done and I was good at. I've always been pretty good with people. So I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to get into hotel industry and hospitality. And my aunt was involved in tourism, and she was like, you should go to study in Switzerland. They have the best programs in the world. And I was like, I was like 25 years old. I'd never left home. I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not going to fucking go to Switzerland. So my mom looked it up, and there was like a actual there was a place in Vancouver that was a recruitment center. And so she like booked me an appointment, and I went, and like, I wasn't serious about going at all. And I applied just to appease my mom, because my mom's like, you got to get into something. You got to do something. Like, this is a great opportunity. And, like, thankfully my parents were going to help me pay for school, and which I could never have afforded myself at the time. And so I applied, and I just forgot about it. And then like a month or 2 months later, I got like an acceptance letter saying that I had been approved. And I was like, fuck, I got to kind of figure out what I want to do now. Right. Because I never left. And so I made the decision to like move there and like go to school. And I did it for 2.5 years. I got my degree. And then I moved back to Vancouver, and I got a job in management with Four Seasons in Whistler. And I started working for Four Seasons. And then that was what led me, after 3 years. I was ready to move to a new location, because I had multiple promotions, and I moved, and for some reason, I thought I was supposed to go to LA. I felt drawn to go to LA. And so I transferred eventually once I found a job in LA to Beverly Hills, and I worked there for about 18 months. And then Bob got a job at the same hotel. We met each other. And then that was kind of that was like, after that, it was like, okay, this is my best, guy. And I became like inseparable. And, I wasn't really into social media back then. Like I'm older, I'm 38. Right. So like, I fucked around with Instagram a bit. I would follow Barstool Sports and some shit like that, but I wasn't really like a big social media guy. Whereas Bob was like totally entrenched within that world. Right. So when I met him, he showed me one of these videos, one of the first videos he ever posted, that Barstool posted of him. It was like a video of him in a bathroom, in a handicapped bathroom stall.
I remember seeing,
and it's like the video is turned on him, and he's like sweating and like nervous. And then he like pans the camera around, and he like pans down underneath the stall, and there's like 2 or 3 like wheelchairs like waiting to get into the. And I thought it was the funniest shit I'd ever seen. I was dying. I said it to my like brother, to my sisters. I was like, yo, this is the funniest fucking shit ever. And so when he showed me the video, I was like, yo, you're the wheelchair, like bathroom stall guy, And I was like, yo. And so he sent me then his Instagram handle, and I like went that night, and I watched, I'm not joking. I probably that night, I was supposed to be closing the restaurant. I, for like 2 hours, went in the office and watched every single video that he posted. And I thought, I went to him the next day, and I was like, yo, you're the funniest fucking guy I've ever seen. Yeah. Like the fact that you're working overnight at a hotel is criminal. Like you need to quit your job, and you need to get into comedy. I knew that at that moment he was a star, and like we just became best friends. But that's like I got a little bit out of hand there. But like the whole hotel thing, that's how it started.
I hate to say anything here, but the Jets are on the 1 yard line, boys.
Are they?
Touchdown Jets. Jets.
Who scored?
7-6 Jets. And Aaron Rodgers passed to Tyler Conklin.
Oh,
of course,
he needed Javonte Adams.
Come on.
I might have thrown Alan Lazard in there, as well, maybe.
Just
He was
dabbled
like
his
plus
little
600.
Lazard.
I mean, that's good odds. This could be his last game. Old Packers
could be.
teammates. He hits Tay. He hits Lazard. He rides off into the sunset. Joe,
Let's hope he
before
does it.
I hope so. Joe, before you joined, one of the things I was just talking with Rock about is I was like, man, I think about the story of you and Bob meeting and like y'all working in the hotel together. And it's kind of like funny. Like we were like laughing about it. I was like, it's crazy because of who you guys are now. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, cause you're like so great. Like you're so humble. You're always just like, oh, dude, I'm just a guy. But like, do you ever have those moments where it hits you kind of the impact the guys that like kind of the impact that you guys have had on the game? Because I mean, me and Rock are two examples of like people that, I mean, the big reason that we started what we're doing was because of you guys. Like, do you ever have those moments or is it?
To some extent, yes. When I truly say that I'm just a regular guy, I truly believe it. I don't think that there's anything particularly special about me. I think I am a funny dude. I think I'm a psychopath. And I've seen that more, like I've been able to experience that more through watching myself through the lens of Bob's camera. But I truly don't. I mean, I'm not a great golfer. I'm decent, but I'm just a regular dude. And I do think that that's why there's that relatability that, makes our channel really strong and kind of welcoming to a lot of new viewers. But yeah, I don't think of myself like that. I really don't. But yes, there are times where I'm like, it's cool because when we first got into the game, like we really didn't know what the fuck we were doing, to be completely honest. Like when Bob Does Sports started, it wasn't even supposed to be a golf channel. It was supposed to be like a man on the street. Bob was Bob, and it was just him and Jet filming him, and it was just the two of them, and they were going to sporting events and like interviewing people, and that was the show. And the only reason it turned into a golf show is because like one of the times that he was supposed to go to an event or something, he couldn't go, and he hit me up and he's like, do you want to just play golf and we'll make that the episode? And we did that, and it was like one of the best episodes that we did. Hold on, I'm gonna let the dog get outside here. Go on, buddy. Mm-hmm. And so, but then that leading to what it is now, it was like really cool. But at the time we were like, yo, we got to figure out like, how do we penetrate into this market? Because it was like, at that time, it was like all good. And like all these unbelievable golfers who were in that market. You had Foreplay Pod, who was maybe a little bit different, but like they were under the Barstool umbrella. And we're like, we got to figure out a way, like, how can we be within this realm, knowing that we're not great golfers, right? This was before Fab Perez, before anything like that. And so, the fact that we were able to do it, it was really cool and really awesome. And I really hope that, like, the main thing that I always hope from that is that it gives new people an opportunity to get into the same realm that we're able to enjoy because it's so awesome. And I think that there's plenty of space for a lot of new people. And I think there have been a lot of new people who've come in and out of the scene within the last couple of years. But to your point earlier, Nick, I think like, it's growing like crazy, and like social media and golf and YouTube golf has become like the new thing, to the point now where like we had a meeting with the PGA Tour and we went to the headquarters and we walked into the office and there was like a boardroom. Like, you ever watch Entourage where like Ari Gold has like 30 people in there for the meeting? It felt like that. We walked in, there was like all these people. And I was like, yo, are we supposed to be here like right now? Like, what the fuck is going on? But that to me is really resemblant of the fact, like, yes, there are times when things like that happen. I'm like, yo, this is really crazy. Yeah. That this is happening right now. And I hope that we can like still be true to ourselves and like our channel and like who we are and not change, and like still be able to like encourage people to get into the game of golf and to also be inspired to go ahead and do something like what we're doing and feel like there's an opportunity for anyone to really make a name for themselves, Yeah,
that's great. I mean, I think that is one of the key like reasons that people are like love you guys so much, is because I think that they see what you guys are doing and it kind of gives them like hope of like, oh man, like I feel like I'm watching like me and my boys out golfing. You know what I mean? And obviously you guys crush it at the behind the scenes stuff, which I think that more people should utilize, of like showing the personalities of who they are off the golf course.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys crush it. I am going to ask one more question. Now I want Rock to ask a couple of his.
Yeah.
In regards to the restaurant, we were talking about that. I guess it's kind of like a two-part question, but can you tell me just one of your wildest nights at Wolfgang Puck? And then on the back end of that, maybe tell me what it was like when you were able to quit your job to pursue this full-time, what that was kind of like.
When Bob and I would work together, there was always crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw the video of us watching the March Madness. We had
One of my favorites.
It's not over. It's not over. How much time is left?
Wait, reviews are gonna. Oh no. You know, it's not our ball, Joe. It's not our ball.
Oh my God, Rob. Please.
Get Zion, move him the fuck out.
Oh
of there.
my God.
Get Zion. He's gonna try me. He missed it.
Joe!
My God, Rob, I told you the Spartans. I told you, I never doubted myself.
We Bob had taken on the role of like a bookie at the time, and we were taking bets from this one guy who had way more money than us, and so he would like hammer like big time favorites, and then we'd have to sweat games out because we couldn't afford to pay him out. And so like he had hammered that Duke game so much, so Bob was in the office, I was like on my shift like during a lunch break, and we're like in there watching the game, like rooting on Duke, going nuts. Like shouldn't have been doing that, but we were fucking around. Or there'd be nights where Bob would be like there and I'd bring him a fucking tomahawk, like a Wagyu steak, and roll it into the office. Like we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The craziest thing, I don't know, man. I used to grind. Like, although there's funny stories and me having fun and stuff, like in all honesty, I used to grind my ass off at work because it was really a tough job. And like there was a lot of pressure. And I would work, 10, 12, 13-hour days and like 5-6 days a week. And like it was tough to kind of, between the two worlds, like they were so drastically different, like try to juggle the two things together. But there was one time, to answer your question, probably one of the craziest nights, there was a guy who was fucking around. This was before I was in Cut. I was in the Boulevard, the other restaurant in Beverly Hills. Yeah. And there was a guy who was fucking around, like buying drinks for like the restaurant and like trying to be a big shot and stuff. And I told my bartender, I'm like, just keep an eye on this guy. I feel like this guy is like a clown and it's going to try some stupid shit. So just like keep an eye on him. And sure enough, like when it was time to give him the bill, the guy was like hammered. And I guess the bill was like, I don't know, $3,000 or something like that. He took the billfold and he chucked it in the air and it almost hit a bunch of people who were on the dance floor dancing. And then he made a beeline to try to run out of the restaurant, out of the door. And I don't know why I did this because it was really stupid and it was just not necessary. But I was so fucking pissed off that this guy would do that. First of all, put somebody in harm's way because the billfold could have hit somebody in the head and hurt somebody. Yeah. But then also that he was like such a piece of shit that he was trying to be like the cool guy and then just like skip out on the bill, that I ran after him. And there was like an entrance onto Rodeo Street with like stairs. Yeah. And he like, as he opened the door, I like jumped and tackled him down the stairs and was like pinning him down on the side of the street of Rodeo Drive and like holding him down. And then the security guy came and he was like watching me and I was like holding this guy and he's trying to like kick me and hit me. And I'm like holding his face onto the curb. And like, I'm like, call the fucking cops.
Citizen's arrest.
So the cops came, they arrested him. And then like the next day, his brother called, like pleading me, like, we'll pay the bill. I'm so sorry. Like, it'll never happen again. You'll never be back. Like, please don't press charges. So we didn't. I mean, I didn't give a fuck about that.
He paid the bill though?
He paid the bill. I'm like, if you pay the bill, if you make sure he gives the server a really good tip, then we won't press charges. So I think he gave the server like a 50% tip or something like that.
There you go.
And so, everybody came out okay. But that was just like me being an absolute nut job. Because like at the end of the day, it wasn't my money. Like the hotel would have reimbursed us. I just like, I'm a man of principles. And when you do something like that, I was just like, yo, fuck this guy. Right. Yeah. So that answered your first question. The second question is, imagine one of the greatest days of your entire life and then multiply it by 50. And that's like the feeling of like the last time. I literally have a video of me walking out the doors. I asked like the doorman to take a video of me, like the last time I walked out of the restaurant. And I was like, I want to watch this anytime that I feel down or that I'm not happy with what's going on, or I'm being negative about my week, or like something happens, I'm in a bad mood. I want to like go back and watch this video and just remember like how blessed I am that I get to like do what I do for a living, and that like my job is literally to go play shitty golf on some of the best courses with some of the best players in the world, and like hang out with a crew of awesome people. And like, I think, you know, there's not a day that goes by that I don't like really just thank God. And like, I'm so appreciative for what I have, because I know like how lucky I am to do it. And I know that it could be taken away from me in an instant. So to answer your question, like, it was almost like disbelief, because I had quit my job before, like a couple years earlier, thinking that it was like time for me to get into the game. And like financially, the money wasn't coming in the way that I had anticipated. And like after a month or 2 months of not working, I realized like I didn't have the funds or the finances that were coming in that I could pay my bills. So I had to like reluctantly like go back and get another job at the hotel. And that was really eye-opening for me, because it really made me realize like the next time that I do this, because I still was very certain like we were going to take off. Bob was already there, and like it was just a matter of when it was going to be time for me. And I was like, the next time that I do this, I want to make sure it's for good. And then I'm like walking out, and I know that I am going to be like in such a good place that like I can just like walk out and not worry about this ever happening again. And that when that happened, awesome, man, I literally quit my job. It was my last shift. I was supposed to be done like 2-3 months, or like a couple months earlier, but they asked me to stay longer, and I did it for them. But that last night I walked out. The next day I had a flight to New York. We were on a trip, and we were going to see Mikey V, and like go to like Rayo's and do all these things. And like, it was like, we called it our retirement gift or whatever, like our trip. Yeah. And so I was just so excited. Like, I don't even think I slept that night. I think I was like on adrenaline all night. Yeah. So I really want that for you guys too. I want you guys to experience that and like be able to tell me in like a year or two how that feels. Cause it's pretty special, man.
It's gotta be special.
That's like something that I feel like I would definitely do. I'd be like, can you get this video of me? Cause I need to, I need to watch this back. I've actually done that at jobs where I quit just because I hated it so much that I was like, I want to remember how much I hated this job.
But I think the thing is that like, even though at that point I was like ready to quit, like I still had respect and I still liked my job because of what it had provided me with and where I'd come from. Like I had a lot of respect for it, and I still do. Like I put a post up the other day. I went back to the restaurant, like, dope. And I had dinner, and I was like connecting with our chefs, and like the one guy he went from a sous chef in Beverly Hills to like executive chef in New York at the new Wolfgang Puck there. And like, so I wanted to go see them, and like, it was just really cool to reconnect with them and like kind of see like, this is where I spent so much of my time. Yeah. And now I'm like here as a diner. Like, it's really crazy to me.
Yeah.
And you know, but when you realize like what you like I wasn't like hating my job, but I just realized how much better I was about to have it. And it was like,
yeah.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. Aside from getting married, and a couple other things, like it was up there in like the top 3-4 days of my entire life.
Yeah. Wait till you have a kid.
Yeah. I know that's going to be the greatest.
It's even multiplied.
Oh my gosh. That's going to be, I can't wait for that, Joe.
Baby Cutsy.
But my question was kind of just going into how you just ended that. Like, cheers, I kind of wanted to, a little have a day.
I've been so parched, but I wanted to wait until he got done to take a sip.
I kind of wanted to give you an opportunity, Joe, to talk about how important, because I've known you before Nicole and after Nicole. And I kind of just want to give you an opportunity to talk about how awesome she's been and how much of like help she's been to help you continue to grow, you know, because I see it. I don't know if everybody else sees it, but I know how important Nicole is to you. I saw your guys' wedding. It was beautiful. It was awesome.
I mean, you heard my speech at the wedding, right? Like, I really believe that she's the greatest accomplishment in my life. Like, and like trying to be a good husband to her and eventually a good father to our kids is like, it's my primary focus in everything that I do, and it's what motivates me to want to continue to push for our channel to get bigger, for us to do better, because I want to be able to provide a life for our kids and our family one day that, like, you know, that I could only give them, you know, with everything that I have going on. But you know, from a practical side, she's so amazing, and she helps me in so many ways as well. Like, she edits like all these like deals that I get, like for sponsorship ads or different videos or stuff. Like, she helps me edit everything. I'm pretty useless in like a lot of ways. Like, I'm not good at a lot of things. So like, I rely on her tremendously, like her ideas. Like when we're thinking about like an idea for a video for an ad read, or like I'm thinking about like, how can I cut this up or how can I edit it? She does all of that for me.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she just wants to support me. And like, honestly, like our lifestyles are pretty intense in the fact that we're on the road a ton. We're traveling a lot. Like we're here and there. And like, we kind of live like what people would consider like a party lifestyle, in the sense that we're always having fun, right? Like, it's not like I'm going to a work convention and I'm sitting down hearing some boring ass guy talk for 2 days. Like, we're out golfing and going to Riot House and doing this and doing that. And like, it's part of the job that we do. And she's so patient with me, and like, she's very supportive, and she just wants me to continue doing what makes me happy. And I know that even comes at sometimes at her expense. Like, she's had to move now twice in the last 2 years. She moved with me to LA, and then I moved her across the country to Florida. She, you know, never even been here before. And she was just like, I'm here to support you. And like, so Rock, to answer your question, like, I don't know where I would be without her. Like, I really, like, she brings me so much joy and happiness. And like, my job is amazing. My friends are incredible, but like the fact that I have like a woman who supports me and loves me unconditionally, and I'm kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, it's remarkable.
It's the most important thing, I feel like, you know, especially because, you know, me and Nick are, you know, we got 2 amazing wives too. So I know how important it is to have the person you love be so supportive. You know, it means the world. But I just kind of wanted to end my questions with a kind of just a statement. Like, I just wanted to tell anybody that's been watching that hasn't got a chance to meet Joe or Bob or any of the guys in Bob Does Sports, you're gonna fall in love with these guys even more once you meet them, because I was worried when I met Joe. Like, I didn't know how to expect or how to, you know, I don't know what was going to happen. You know, I was a fan of Joe, a big fan. And when I picked him up from the airport, I was terrified. And what you get,
I can't believe that.
I was terrified.
He was nervous before you came on tonight.
I was nervous to do this, Joe. Like,
I don't know, but we're friends. Like, I talk to you daily. Like, it's not.
We talk I understand that, but I sometimes still to this day don't think you realize how much of an impact you have on this whole thing. You know, so like having you on as our first guest is just, it was a little nerve-wracking.
I'm thrilled to be on, and I'm like rooting for you guys. And Rock, you know, like, you and your friend group couldn't have been more welcoming and made me feel like immediately like part of your crew. Like, I have mad respect for Nick and Gino and Chris and all the guys in Nick. All the guys are just treated me so like one of their own. It was really pretty awesome. And you know, and we're like boys. Like, so I'm happy to do this. I'm rooting for you guys to really like find, you know, whether it's the rap niche or whatever you guys are doing. I want to see the space filled with good people, because we need it. And like, I think it's really important that we support each other and that we like help each other like grow. And you know what, like, we had, when we first started, like our first video that really, you know, after the Links of Victoria debacle, but like our first big massive video was Foreplay Pod, like invited us to come on and do a huge match, and that kind of like set the stage for us. And like, I don't know, I think we would have still made it regardless, but like, you know, when people help others, and like when you see like even in the golf realm, like with the collabs and stuff like that, it really it helps everybody and it hurts no one, right? So it's like, it's important that we continue to support one another, and I want you guys to keep pursuing what it is that you want in this realm, and feel like you deserve it, because it's not reserved for a select few people. There is plenty to go around for a lot of people, and as this industry grows, it's even more so going to be, hopefully, you know, more open to even new people. And I think it's also good because it pushes us who are already in the system to continue to be creative and not like be complacent, right? Like if there's new people coming on the scene and like really like crushing it and doing cool things and like changing the game and stuff, it's going to make us like look at ourselves and assess ourselves and be like, how is our content? Are we still like engaging our viewers? Are we still like putting out stuff that people love? Or are we just kind of going through the motions here? Right.
Yeah.
So competition creates excellence.
Yeah.
Nick, I don't know if you have anything else for the big guy, but we planned on 20 minutes. It's been 45.
Joe,
we love you, Joe.
I talk a lot, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just want to say, as a parting word, this might ruffle some of those competition feathers. When me and Rock filmed last week and we filmed like a pre-episode of this, I asked him, because obviously he's played with you. I said, Rock, 2v2, you and me versus Joe and Bob, who wins? And he goes, oh, we win. And I was like,
probably.
Okay.
Well, no, hold on.
I know. I'm trying to ruffle. He didn't say
hold
that.
On. What I said was,
well, you did say that, but you can explain.
I did end with us winning, but let me explain what I said. When I watched Joe play golf on Bob Does Sports, and then when I saw him play in person, he's a better golfer.
I believe it.
He's a lot better than he gets portrayed at times, right? Now, I don't want to make the same mistake with Bob, right? Like, because Bob could be a way better golfer than he is portrayed at times. I don't know.
Too.
I've never played with Bob, so I don't know what to expect.
Bob is very sneaky to play with because his handicap, you'll have to give him strokes, and you'll think like he'll be having like 3-4 horrendous holes, and then out of nowhere he'll par the next 4, and he'll be popping on 2 of them, and he'll make like a 4 for 3, and all of a sudden win 2 holes out of nowhere, and you're like, yo, where the fuck did that come from?
What is his handicap, by the way?
He doesn't have an official handicap.
Okay.
We both have just started like entering our scores to kind of like gauge what we're at. I would say if I had to I'd say he's probably like a 13. And I would say I'm probably playing at like a 10 or 11 right now. But again, we don't have official, we need to get official handicaps, because it's like we're starting to play now. People want to play for like money matches and stuff, and they're asking our handicaps, and like, well, you don't have an official GIN handy, and we're like, no, we don't. So it's like it's becoming something that we're more aware of that we kind of need to do. But he's sneaky. He's sneaky good.
Yeah.
There's times he's played.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Rock,
worried about.
I've watched him shoot at PGA National an 82 or an 83, like straight up, and like with strokes, it's like guys shooting in the 70s. Yeah. So
dude,
like he can be sneaky. If his drive is going straight, that's problematic for the other team. His driver is the most inconsistent thing, but when he's hitting them straight, he is a problem.
I reached out to Bob and I offered him the same deal I gave you. I'd give him a couple parlays to come onto the pod, and he said he'd be happy to.
Hey, Rock, just make sure that Miami's not in that parlay, okay? Joe, I was gonna intro and say, Joe, I appreciate you showing up today, unlike the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy thing is every other pick that we thought about putting in that parlay spot would have hit, except for the one that we did.
I failed you.
You did not, man. Is that Lazard touchdown?
Lazard?
Oh, Lazard!
Let's go, baby! Plus 600. Never a doubt. Never a doubt.
I think it's number 10, no? Is that number 10? I don't want to call it prematurely, but I think that's Lazard.
It is Lazard.
I knew it was either going to Lazard or Adams. It had to be.
I think it's Lazard.
It is Lazard.
Yeah, 14-yard touchdown.
Oh, and an Arizona touchdown, boys. Come on.
Kyler Murray?
On. Kyler, well, he's running off like he just scored, yeah. No, it's McBride. He threw it to McBride.
And Seahawks are up by 7.
Oh my God, boys, we're rolling.
Guys,
here.
we're looking good. It's tracking.
It's tracking.
I don't want to jinx us, knock on wood, but don't let us get hot.
Don't let us
just keep doing the podcast. As soon as I turn the TV on, we're going to lose everything.
Exactly.
Don't say that.
It's Murphy's Law, man. That's how it works.
The vibes are high, and so are the account balances. Well, Joe, we appreciate you coming on for the first episode of this. Taking the time. Obviously, you're a busy guy, so we appreciate you making the time. coming on here. And in a year's time, when we quit our jobs and we're doing this full time, we'll have you back on and we'll celebrate.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that'll be really that'll be an awesome moment for me to see. I
Yeah.
really would be thrilled to be a part of that, because I know that you guys are both very passionate about the golf space and about what you do in terms of like involvement. And Nick, I think you said it really good. I think like, as you know, it's just a matter of finding like a certain way that you guys can be relevant to people and relatable and
Yeah.
find that niche. But listen, I'm wishing you guys nothing but the best, and with the podcast
Appreciate
and
it.
stuff, like, you know, keep
You're the
doing what
man.
you love, because you know what? I always said to Bob, you know, early on, I was like, you know what, the worst that can ever happen is we can just have a whole lot of fun doing something that we enjoy and nothing comes of it. And we can have fun, and you know, there's no harm in that. The best that can happen is the sky's the limit.
Is what's
Literally-
happening for you.
Literally verbatim, I always told people, I said, what I'm doing is low risk and it's high reward because I'm going to be on the golf course regardless. So why not film it and post it on the internet? Who cares?
Yeah, you got to have fun with what you do. And like, all the people are like, why would you do this? You're making a fool of yourself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying, you know, I think life's too serious. There's a lot of shit going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And people need to have a little bit more fun and be able to like laugh and enjoy themselves a little bit more, because there's not enough of that right now. And if you can do that and have a good time, and hey, you know what? If you can make a buck or two out of it, that's awesome. If not, you're
Yeah.
still having fun and you're enjoying life. And that's something that should never be taken lightly.
Yeah, I agree. That's awesome.
I appreciate you, Joe. You're the man. We love you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate you, Joe.
We'll talk
All right,
soon.
buddy.
Okay.
All right.
Talk
See
soon.
ya.
I'll talk to you soon.
Peace,
Oh, yeah.
boys.
See ya. All right. Well, that was awesome. I mean,
Special.
it was what we thought it was. I mean, we asked him for what, 10, 15 minutes, I think, initially. And then I think right before we hopped on, we knew like this has potential to go the distance. And
It went the distance.
it went the distance. I mean, it's just the boys chatting, you know, hitting bets. Shout out Alan Lazard.
That was
Really coming through.
shout out
Really
the
coming through.
Jets. Shout out the Jets.
Dude.
The Jets were
Like-
hated on early in the pod, and by the end of the
Yeah.
pod, we were winners.
I'm not gonna lie. You called that. You're like, dude, they're gonna win by a touchdown.
Yeah, I think they won by 12.
I just want to say, because it's coming up on this weekend, you have a very hot pick that the Texans are going to beat the Chiefs.
Texans money line plus 350. Book it.
Plus 350. Wow,
Book it.
I feel like that's not even that much, but
Book it. And then you're gonna have Texans versus Bills. Bills are gonna roll them.
yeah, I
And then
think Bills are gonna beat Ravens.
I think so too. I think
Yeah.
I think the Bills got a big curse on them, but I think this is the year they get it done.
Wow, Bills Texans. Interesting.
And then I think it'll be Bills Lions, which I would be really
God, I
excited
hope
about that.
so. I hope so.
That'd
That's
be
the
a great Super Bowl.
That's the Super Bowl that America wants. Unless
I just
you're-
really want Lions in it. I love Dan Campbell, man. I
Yeah.
love Dan Campbell.
Brooks seems to think that the Eagles are getting to the Super Bowl.
I mean, I don't think so, but
No, it's
who do they got next?
the Rams.
They'll probably beat the Rams though.
Yeah, they'll probably beat the
Li-
Rams.
Lions,
the Lions
Eagles?
beat the Commanders, and it's Lions Eagles. Yeah, and I think the Lions win easy. So
I think so too. Sorry to break it to Brooke.
a lot of hopefully the Eagles fans don't come for me after they hear that. But yeah, that was special. Episode 1 in the books. Episode 2 next week we have Kevin Spies, aka Grill Guy, coming
Another
on.
banger. Another
And
banger.
he is somebody who's like another like influence for me of like why I started making funny videos. That guy is, I mean, we were texting today and I was like, dude, I'm jealous of how you come up with these ideas because like
So,
constantly,
bro, that video he posted today had me crying.
dude, he's like,
No, like
He-
crying tears.
he really gets into character, dude. It's amazing. Oh my God. He's one of a kind.
I was crying. I'm thinking about it. I'm about to start crying. Like it was so funny.
His story too of like how he got into like the influencer world is mind blowing.
I'm pretty sure it's a never heard before story, because I'm a big fan of Grill Guy, and I don't think I've ever heard that before. So
Yeah.
if you like Kev, aka Grill Guy, you got to tune into next week, because it's a good one.
Yeah. It's going to be good. All right. Well, that is all for this episode, the Barely Made podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Tune in for Grill Guy. We got to get some sponsors up on this screen, man.
I know.
We got to start filling
Make
this
sure
bad
you
boy
guys
up.
like, comment, subscribe.
Donate.
See you next week.
I'm just
Donate.
All right. We'll catch y'all next week.